I will say before I found JostArriba, that's where I really was at, was I would go through funks very, very easily. So if I wasn't in my normal routine, if I wasn't doing exactly what I knew every single morning, every single night, I felt like I would be in a mental funk. And my brain just felt kind of weak in that way. I think I felt like I wasn't really strong enough in my brain to kind of cope with a lot of things just environmentally. And so it was kind of interesting because even though I've been at the same club throughout my whole life, I would still get a lot of anxiety playing tennis. And I would always try to figure out, why is this happening to me? Why, if I've been playing for so long, shouldn't I feel better doing this instead of like worse? Um, and then since I moved to California, I have never had those same anxious feelings again because I started drinking Joss Ariba.
And I myself as well. And
Right.
I remember my life before JostArriba was basically the two states, the the sleepy and tired and exhausted and cranky and and just um, jittery and
Right.
hyped and stressed and nervous.
Hmm.
And then
Hmm.
I go back and forth between those two states. And I
Hmm.
thought that was normal. And there's
Right.
lots of people around me, those who have not found JostArriba yet, and
Right.
they still do.
Hmm.
And there's
Hmm.
lots of and we consume so many. Nora, who shared with me, and saying that you're actually waiting for the panic to hit you.
I was ready. I was bracing myself. I was like, dude, I know how I'm gonna feel. And it just
Uh-huh.
never happened. Well, it didn't happen in the way that I thought it would. I felt energy, just not exactly what we're saying, calm energy.
Yeah.
I felt energy, but I didn't feel it like I don't want to make it sound like I didn't feel anything at all, because obviously the more you drink this Joss the more you're gonna feel the benefits. But what I was just looking for is not to feel anxious. So I didn't feel anything. That was the first time I tried. I was like, okay, thank goodness. And then over time, I started to notice actually feeling, okay, I'm cognitively like getting a little more focused. I feel like I can stay on a task longer. I feel like I can and at first I was like, is this placebo? Like, am I just like looking at this thinking, is this like placebo? But then over time, I was thinking, wow, like I haven't drank Joss in like maybe a month, let's say. And I'll be like, huh, I've just been so busy with my life. Let me start drinking it again. And then I started to feel like I could focus back into what I was doing. It just reaps a lot of like health benefits for you.
Yes.
And then there was one breaking point that happened for me where I was drinking a double shot of espresso before I got my license. My dad was driving me to a tennis lesson, and there was two other people in my lesson, and I was drinking the espresso in the car. And as I get into my lesson, I'm starting to work out, blood's starting to pump, and I start to feel like numb everywhere. Like I start to feel like what's going on with me a little bit, and I was starting to get like psyched out. And then as I'm continuing to hit, I start to feel like, oh my God, I feel like I need to like run out of the building, like a sense of like huge panic, like huge panic. And so I told my coach, I said, I have to go to the bathroom. Like, let me just go to the bathroom. And he's like, okay. He thought it was just normal because I was really good at hiding it. And I go into the bathroom and I remember the sense of like panic wasn't going away. It was still there. And it was like a fire. And I feel a lot of my anxiety like from my neck
Mhm.
up, like from my upper body. So it was a lot of that. I don't really get a lot of stomach. It was like thankfully, but I feel like I had to flee. Like there's a sense of like doom. And then I came back out and I said, I have to stop. Like, I don't know what's going on with me. And I told them, I said, I've been drinking coffee and
And this calm energy or calm alert
calm
state
alert. Yeah.
is, yeah, I would say that's the perfect state. That's
Hmm.
a sweet
Hmm.
spot. So you're not tired and you're not hyped, and
Yeah.
but you can still focus, you can still
Yeah.
process information, you can still strategize, you can make better decisions, and your body
Hmm.
and mind, they're ready. Like if in your case I'm playing tennis, or in my case dancing, I can control my body, my mind is in
Hmm.
control of where I place my feet, how fast or slow I move with the music. And in your
Hmm.
case, you can't hit sooner or later than the perfect timing. So, and
Right.
being able to stay still and be calm and wait for the perfect moment
Hmm.
and to execute something is
Right.
makes all the difference. And you're a student now. That also, learning. and
Yes.
studying and just and
More and more and more started to make me feel like, oh, I can wake up and I can either have JostArriba or not have JostArriba, but it's not going to depict how my day is going to go. You know what I mean? So are relaxed as well. They've mastered that very way. Right? That's why they're professional. That's why they do what they
they
do.
master
Yeah.
that, but also, okay, truth be told, when I first started working with these ingredients, and these
Uh-huh.
are dietary supplement ingredients, the
Yeah.
ashwagandha, and not any ashwagandha, the KSM-66, because of the
Yeah.
clinical studies, and the L-theanine, but not any L-theanine, but the suntheanine, which
Yeah.
it deliver the efficacy and have all the clinical
Benefits. Hmm.
the clinical benefits, proven
Right.
benefits. So when I started working with these ingredients, I was working with athletes. I was working with the highest performance Olympians,
Hmm.
and they were using these ingredients, these supplements, nootropics, and
Hmm.
adaptogens supplements at my disposal, and I didn't take them because I didn't enjoy taking them.
Right.
So long story short, JostArriba was really I formulated for myself, and
Hmm.
kind of what you were struggling with during COVID, during the pandemic. I was dealing with all kinds of stress and anxiety. I was dealing
Yeah.
with losing 3 family members, and I was dealing with what everybody else in the world was dealing with
100%.
to survive,
100%.
to
Yes.
be alive, right?
Yes.
So for me to have something to help me through the darkest time in my life, and then afterwards, and help me to improve every aspect of my life. From
Yes.
my work, from my relate, and also I don't know about you, my relationships. I was talking to
Hmm.
somebody else I'm working with more positivity. And
Hmm.
if I can do that, if Just Riva can do that for me, it can do that for many other people and many
Yes.
relationships, right? Can you imagine how many happier marriages? Well, not in your case yet, but in my case,
Hopefully.
and
Hmm.
friendships, and I think if we treat ourselves, not just ourselves, but each other kinder, with more kindness and consideration, and because of Joe's Deriva,
Yes.
then wow, the world
Yeah.
can be a much better place.